Hello and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses. It is time for another match preview, and this time it is Hull versus Leicester City. Now, just to set expectations, this isn't one of these really in-depth match previews. They will be returning later in the week for our next game. Obviously, we only have a 2-day turnaround for the Hull game after the Portsmouth game, so this is a nice bite-sized one, easy viewing for you all. And of course, as always, I'm joined by Luke. What's going on, my friend?
Good, brother. How are you?
All good, all good, all good, all good. Mate, let me just say, this is an interesting one, and I'm looking forward to talking about it because we've just drawn another game to Portsmouth at home. There's some unhappy people in the fan base, and I was joking around on Good Morning Foxes yesterday, mate, but I was saying that, you know it's bad when even Luke says people are overreacting. Just quickly before we talk on Hull, I mean, what are your thoughts now the dust has settled about Portsmouth? How are you feeling about the game now that it's settled?
I was irritated because I felt like the first 45 minutes was amazing, and we could, not amazing, but very good, probably the best I've seen this season. And I was very happy, and I would like to finally see a 90-minute performance, but I was not expecting the complete fallout that we saw. We all know that I rage and have meltdowns and stuff like that, and maybe overreact from time to time, but I wasn't like the magnitude of like Marty out and like the complete meltdown was caught me off guard. But I'll say this: look, we haven't lost in 8 games. Yeah, granted the points we should be getting 3 for each one, and a points deduction could come back to haunt us. But every single one of those draws is like 1-1. It's not like we've been shipping goals, if you know what I mean. So that's at least one good positive. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, if I'm being too positive or what do you think?
I think me and you are, us both are now happy clappers, clearly. I think we must both be happy clappers because we're not screaming for the manager out. But no, I agree with you, mate. Yeah, I agree. I think I see enough to not get too worried. But that could change. I mean, I think if we didn't win the next two, Luke, I think me and you will both be like, oh, hold on a second. This isn't great. This is, something's
Oh,
not right here.
100% I will.
Right, let's move on. So let's get into the first slide here, and it's obviously all about Hull and their recent form. So as you can see, Hull are currently in 10th place. They've had, you could say, a better return from the last 5 games maybe than us. I mean, they've got so they got 3 points, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They got 10 points. How many have we got from the last 5 games? I don't know. Anyway, we'll bring it up in a sec. But they are 10th. Their form is win, loss, draw, win, win. So their last 2 games are wins, which is positive for them. But yeah, they are in 10th. They're not. But I will say, Luke, I don't know how much you kind of looked into Hull at the start of the season, but there was a lot of negativity around them, and a lot of people, including some of their fans, thought they might be going down because I know they had a couple of issues off the pitch. So yeah, what are you thinking, mate? In 10th place on paper should be a pretty easy game, but you know how football works.
I don't know how football works, particularly in the championship, mate. Like you just see the weirdest thing. You never see like a real, other than the top 2 teams, you rarely see like a real dominant top 6, so to speak. It's completely all over the place. Anyone can beat anybody. The ones you think you're going to win, you lose. The ones you think you're going to lose, you win. So I think that I had a few exodus problems with players, I believe, over the off season. So, but it's only early days, locks. You know what I mean? Like I want to see where they're going to be in like 10, 15 games from now. But yeah, I definitely think this is one on paper that would hope to think that we can get 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, they're just to offer context on those last 5 games. So let me just bring it up here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they beat Southampton 3-1. That's a great result. They lost 2-1 to Watford. They drew with Preston, who obviously beat us earlier in the season. And then their last 2 games, Luke, which is very impressive, they beat Sheffield United and they beat Birmingham. So there's 2 big wins from them in the last 2 games. So they'll be definitely looking to add a third win against one of the biggest sides, obviously Sheffield United, Birmingham, and then Leicester. So yeah, and then they've got a couple of tough games as well coming up. So they'll want to get 3 points here. Now, if we move on, Luke, what I've got here is basically looking into their style of play. what they're good at, what they're not so good at. Now, as you can see on the left-hand side, the strength, I've got their finishing, scoring chances, attacking down the wings, and counter-attacking. The bottom two there, Luke, do worry me because I think, attacking down their right, which is our left, obviously Luke Thomas, that concerns me. The counter-attacks we know that Leicester City are prone to. We are fragile on the counter because of some of the pace that we have at the back. And then also scoring chances. I think a lot of teams, Luke, we play against, we kind of get away with it sometimes because they don't finish their chances. But as you can see, Hull do finish their chances, which doesn't sound great for us.
It doesn't sound great for us, particularly in that left-hand side. A counter on that left or their right, our left. Yeah, we're definitely vulnerable. We've seen it time and time again of Luke Thomas. Will he start? That's a whole other conversation for later in the show. But it does worry me a little bit, particularly if they're finishing their scoring chances as well.
Yeah. Well, on the weaknesses, aerial duels, stopping opponents from creating chances and keeping possession of the ball. So, I mean, aerial duels, how we are, aerially, we're not great, and I think we do struggle at times, especially. I mean, you see Yannick Vestergaard and even Carranza on the weekend, mate. Like, he's a fairly big lad, and I think he even struggled at times to win aerial duels, and that is a weakness of Hull. Stopping opponents from creating chances, that's a weakness, which means they're not very good at that. So that kind of is a bit of a positive for us. We do struggle to create clear-cut chances, I think, at times. So the fact that they're maybe not the strongest at stopping them is obviously a positive for us. And then keeping possession of the ball. I think, Luke, though, even if they were good at possession of the ball, I think we'd expect to dominate most of the ball, right?
Yeah, you would think so, mate. And if it's down here as a weakness, keeping possession of the ball, obviously that plays in our favour, but it's what we do with that possession that's really going to matter this game.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the stats, against Birmingham and Hull, they had the less of possession. They had more of possession against Preston, but that's to be expected. In the Watford game, they had less possession, so they're not focused too heavily on possession. They're happy for us to have the ball and hopefully hit us on the break. But one thing I am worried about, Luke, if you go to the next slide, there we go. This man here, Ollie McBurnie. Now, Ollie McBurnie is a bit of a funny guy, man. Like he's been all over the place. I mean, Swansea, Sheffield United. He was at Las Palmas, I think, or somewhere like that last season in Spain. Now he's at Hull. 6 goals and 3 assists and 4 Man of the Match awards as well in the first 10 games, mate. I hate to say it, Luke. Like Ollie McBurnie would be good for Leicester right now. Like we need a man who can put the ball in the back of the net, and we don't have that at the moment. How much do you know about McBurnie, mate? And are you worried at all about him? Because I think he's a good player at this level.
I'm not too clued up about this cave-dwelling looking fella, but like the good stats, and I would kill to have a striker. He's had 3 goals to a name. We've got 1 between all 3 of our strikers this season. It's a major problem. So yeah, I would definitely think we could use this lad right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at his data as well, like non-penalty goals, his XG. And again, he's a big presser of the ball as well. He does a lot of running up there, so tackles, blocks, clearances, aerials won. They're all positive in his favour. So I think he is going to be the danger man. A lot of Championship clubs did want him in the summer. I remember there was a Leicester fan. I can't remember who it was. Somebody said, "Oh, we should get Ollie McBurnie," and a lot of people just went, "Shut the fuck up! We're taking Ollie McBurnie." But I mean, yeah, he's got 6 goals, 3 assists. And 4 man of the matches, so he's not doing bad at all this season. But he's one of them. He's one of them kind of Championship journeymen, if you like. He goes all around the shop in the Championship. He's played for a few different clubs, and yeah, he knows where the net is. If we move on, Luke, as well, we can just see what their best 11 is. So this is basically. This doesn't necessarily mean this is what they'll play or this is what they did play last game or the game before, but it is just their best performing players, their best performing 11, if you like. So Panda in goal, who is I think he's a decent goalkeeper, to be honest. He's not had the greatest of seasons, though, so far. I don't know if do you recognise that right back, Luke? Do you recognise his name, Coyle? It's a little test for you. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
So, I think it's Louis Coyle. He was a couple of years ago playing for. Oh, it was Hull. It was Hull a couple of years ago when we played them under Renzo, and he was playing right back, and Mavididi fucking tore him a new arsehole, mate. Like, absolutely tore him apart. So we know Mavadidi's injured, or we think he's still injured for tomorrow. I guess he is. So Jeremy Monga, I am looking at to cause some trouble down that left-hand side or Hull's right-hand side. And on the other side, mate, Ryan Giles, he's been all over the shop as well. He played for Luton, Middlesbrough. He's a really good left-back. So I can see why Hull are good on the wings. I think if you've got Giles doing a lot of overlapping, then that's gonna be pretty successful. The two in midfield haven't had a great season. I mean, John Lundstrom, who is a former Sheffield United player, he's bang average in my opinion. So I fancy us to actually control the midfield here. Hopefully, Jordan James, Harry Winks, and Aaron Ramsey can have a bit of joy in the centre. Joe Geldhart, though, Joe Geldhart, Luke, is more. I mean, he started his career as a striker, I believe, for Leeds United. So he's an ex-Leeds player. So he's kind of playing as he's there in attacking midfield, but he's going to be very advanced, Luke, which might mean they're quite open in the midfield. Which I suppose only is only positive for our midfield three. JJ Winks and Ramsey, mate. I mean, what did you make to those three in the Portsmouth game? Because I think they are the best midfield trio in the Championship.
Yeah, easy. They are the best Championship trio by a country mile, and particularly if Ramsey's going to keep getting better and better as well. JJ looks like he's getting better every game. Winks is his consistent old self for the Championship, top echelon for that level. If he can dictate the pace, we're having both of those box crashing, joining in an attack and helping build, which they both did in that first 45 minutes, then I do think we could be very dominant in the game. It's just what can we do in that space and how much can we attack it? I'm really looking forward to seeing the turnaround from the game that we've just had and seeing if Mighty can light a fire under their ass.
Yeah, so it will be interesting to see how similar this 11 is to the 11 that we actually see on Tuesday night. But if we move on, Luke, there's one thing we do need to talk about, and it's this. Marti Cifuentes is facing critics. He's facing some criticism at the moment. Leicester City, obviously, we are in fourth place on 17 points, so 1 point behind third, and 4 points behind Middlesbrough in second, 5 behind Coventry, who at the moment are, bloody hell, running away with it, which is fucking annoying. But as you can see, Luke, draw, win, draw. Let me ask you this: Do you understand the criticism that Marty's facing? Do you think it's justified? Do you think it's fair?
If we didn't have a points deduction looming, I would say it's unfair because we haven't lost that many games, to be honest with you. Yeah, I can totally understand the criticism. Trust me, I get it. It's frustrating. You would expect more of the squad we've got. I understand. But I think that after the damage that was done last season from Steve Cooper to Ruud van Nistelrooy, he's had to pick up a lot of broken pieces and put them back together, put an arm around a lot of lads' shoulders that are down on confidence. I don't think that it's totally fair, to be honest, to be calling for his head right now. This is a guy that's paid to be here. I think that's really unfair. I do think there's an element of arrogance to the players, yet that it's a bit of column A and column B for me. I don't know what you think. I think we spoke about it last. I've still didn't really need the dust to settle because I wasn't all that upset after the game with him. I wasn't calling for his head. I want to give it another 10 games and then revisit this conversation, though. You know what I mean? Like you said earlier, if we lose the next 3 in the trot, then it's totally different. But for now, where we're at, I think that we're still building.
Yeah, I think Marty's in a real tough place all season, really, mate. With does he go down the route of a full rebuild, playing constant youth? So Louis Page, Ben Nelson, Aluko, Monga, Jake Evans. Because this week, mate, I've seen people saying Jake Evans should be playing ahead of even Jordan Ayew, and I'm like, okay, well, it's an interesting take, but I think I don't think Jordan Ayew's had a bad season. I just think he's not really that goal scoring striker that we probably need. Um, and I think Luke personally he's trying to find the balance. He's trying to find the middle between playing the squad that's going to get us up, but also playing players that are the future of the club. And I think he's trying to find the balance in between. And I think that means that he's not pleasing. I think he's trying to please everybody, but obviously that's not possible at Leicester, Luke. Like you've got the sections of the fan base that just want to see youth played. But then them same fans, if we lost every week because we're playing a bunch of 16, 17-year-old, they'd be fucking moaning. They would be moaning if we were losing every week because of that. And then on the flip side, you've got the fans that want to win every week, that if we don't win every week are going to start questioning the manager. So I just think he's somewhere in the middle. I really like the guy. I think he's a good manager. I don't think he's an exceptional manager. I think he's a good manager. I think he's a good person. That doesn't mean he is untouchable. I think we have given him our fair share of criticism. I think it's important to raise the question, Luke, that why do we only get one half of good football? Early in the season, we had a better second half, if you remember. Like we always started the game really slowly, and then in the second half, we kind of grew into it and we finished strong. Whereas at the moment, Luke, we're kind of starting games really well and just falling off a cliff and conceding late on. What do you think? How does he fix that? Do you know what I mean? How do we get over that problem? Is it just because they're tiring, the players are tiring, and he doesn't have Winks and Ricardo to come off the bench because they're already on?
Okay, this is where I will criticize him if he doesn't address this. I think that the players could not deal with being pressed in that second half. They were completely, when he says they're arrogant, yes, there's maybe a part of that is true because of a lot of these players have experienced high highs that a lot of the people in this league haven't. So particularly under Enzo, they've been in Premier League, some of them play international, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? But like basically, what I'm concerned with is that we did not deal with the press. We were looking rattled. If he can't tweak that and make it so that we can convert from these chances, keep possession, but also know how to be settled in shape. Whereas you used to see with Enzo, like the players knew exactly where to stand, where to be. You never looked like we got pulled apart by sorts. Whereas we looked panicked and rattled in that second half. We kept pumping the ball long. It wasn't working. We tried to build. It wasn't working. It kept coming back. We couldn't keep possession second half, and we were just getting pressed and pulled to pieces. And that defense looked the most unsettled I've seen them all season in that second half, in my opinion. It was weird because the first half I would say the best, and the second I was not only was I nervous, obviously from Luke Thomas, I was not confident any of that back four in that second half in the last particularly 15, 20 minutes. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I agree. I think, look, the fact that we were okay with Fast coming back into the 11 showed kind of how, I think earlier in the season, like when he would come off the bench, we just looked better at the back. And I think you're right. This time round, they did look unsettled. And I just think we struggled to play out, really. When we did win the ball, we'd get forward and we just wouldn't be able to keep the ball. We weren't able to keep the ball, which is, like you said, they just pressed the shit out of us. And Marty needs to find a solution to that because it's going to keep happening, right? Like any teams we're going to play, all they need to do is look at that second half against Portsmouth and just do that. They just do the same thing, and they're gonna get us. So right, if we move on, Luke, let's talk about this, mate. So will we see the same 11, Luke? That's my question to you. So obviously we had Jakob in goal, Ricardo, Fass, Vestergaard, Thomas, Jordan James and Harry Winks, Abdul Fatawu, Aaron Ramsey, Jeremy Monga, and Julian Carranza. Mavididi is still injured as far as we're aware. Carranza, will he reclaim his spot? We just don't know. What are your thoughts on this? How similar to this 11 do you think the game on Tuesday will be? Or will he make some changes because it was a quick turnaround, of course, and some of them might be tired?
I think Hams is going to start, unfortunately, but at the same time, Ricky P had a poor performance and lost his head. He should have been. You can make a case he could have been very close to being sent off in that game.
Yeah.
So, with a quick turnaround in his injury record, I would not be surprised to see Hams and Chowdhury come in. Faze, I would, if you were ever to make a case for a caller to get a smell on the team again, or Ben Nelson, as many people are calling for, I would personally like to see a Luco. I thought he looks brilliant at centre back, but for whatever reason, we're not seeing him. Faze could be swapped, but it wouldn't surprise me if he keeps him. Thomas, I want Victor Christensen now at this point just to see what he can do because Thomas has been honking. JJ Winks, I think, are going to be nailed on starters nearly every single game, mate, unless they pick up a knock. Fatawi, Mongo, if Mavadidi's injured, I expect to stay. The only change I possibly see, really, in particular, is Carranza and Ricky P. Carranza, I tried to defend him a little bit because I just think because Dak is just so much worse. But the question is this: you want Iron to start, correct? You want him in the number 9 position.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, let me ask you this then. Do you think, one, that you look good coming off the bench because B, he's better coming off the bench and he has more energy? Or do you think that before this international break, we saw consecutive starts for Pats and Daka and maybe he thought he had to fight for his position because he was putting the Jets on like I've not ever seen him before? I don't know if there was a sense of urgency because he wants to re-cement his place or he's just purely better off the bench.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, mate. It's like yes, I would agree. He's better off the bench than when he starts, right? And that's not just him. That's most players, Luke. You know, it's most players because you're coming off the bench to a team that have been playing for 60, 70 minutes, right? So they're tiring, you're fresh. So that's always the case. However, I just think Ayu's the best striker at the club, which is scary to say. I just think he's the best of the three. If we were talking about Jamie Vardy and as an option, then yeah, obviously I'd be like, no. Ayu can't start. Ayu needs to come off the bench. But we're not. We're talking about Carranza, we're talking about Daka, and we're talking about Ayu. And out of them three right now, I think Ayu should start. I think we're better in possession with Ayu, of course, because I think he's able to keep the ball, unlike Daka and unlike Carranza, what we've seen so far. And I would agree that I think Carranza spent more time in the box, though, against Portsmouth than Ayu normally would. But when the ball was fed to Carranza, what did he do, really? I mean, he did nothing, right? The one good opportunity where the ball was fed into him, he just took an awful touch and had to play in Fatawu instead. So some people will say that was on purpose. Graham would probably say that was on purpose. But no, I think I would go with Ayu. I think I would also expect Hamza. I mean, if Ricardo was fully fit and he wasn't tired, I would say Ricardo. But I don't think. I think he's going to need a bit of a rest, right? 2 days later.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll probably be Hamza to start. I'd probably agree with you on that one. The other question, though, mate. None of us want to see it, but is there a possibility that we see Oliver Skip? Because the midfield, man, they're gonna 2 days, mate. 2 days turnaround. I think we both agree, right? If either Winks or James need a rest, it's got to be Samari over Skip. Yeah, are we in agreement with that?
Yeah, I thought you were winding me up for a second. I was just waiting to say, yeah, I didn't think Samari looked too bad. He definitely could still be utilised as a squad option. I don't want him to be started, but I don't want him to be frozen out of the squad either. Do you know what I mean? So I know he's inconsistent, but I definitely think off the bench, he's going to look more desperate to try and keep his place in the squad, and I think you're going to get more from him and less laziness, as he's often slated for. So yeah, it's definitely Samari, mate. You could make a case actually to have Samari and Winks as a partnership because James has been playing international minutes and Winks hasn't.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, mate. Right, let's move on then to the last slide, and that is, of course, as always, score predictions. I'll go first this time, Luke. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Leicester win. I think we will get back to winning ways. I think people are just having kind of unjustified head loss. Yes, we're unbeaten in 8 games, and I know that some of them were draws, but we are the better team here. We are still, I think on paper, man for man, the best team in the Championship. And I just think Marty's gonna, he's just coming across little stumbling blocks. I think he'll sort them out eventually as time goes on. I think we'll just get better. And yeah, I've got us to win this one 2-1 away from home, which is a good result away. What are you saying, mate?
I'm going to go 2-0.
Oh, nice,
Brave.
nice. 2-0 away win. Lovely. That's what we'd all take. So yeah, we're gonna end it there. As I said, thank you to everybody for watching. Obviously it's a bite-sized one. We will be back later in the week for a bigger match preview for the Millwall game, which is obviously at 3:00 on Saturday, 3:00 kickoff. So we will have another match preview come out on Thursday. That will actually we'll have a Millwall fan on with us to discuss that one. And make sure to join us for the watch along tonight, or Tuesday night at 7:45. So 7:30 kickoff it'll be, and just before kickoff as well, we're going to have a little mini analysis from a nil, looking at the Portsmouth game, and then we'll go straight into the watch along for the whole game. So cheers, Luke. Thanks for joining me, mate. Much appreciated, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Cheers all. Bye-bye. Big shout out to our new sponsor, The Beautiful Frame. They have absolutely smashed it with this Jamie Vardy piece. They're a local Leicester business as well, which makes it even better. And not just Leicester, they do prints for other clubs too. Honestly, perfect if you're stuck for a birthday or Christmas present. The best bit, they've sorted Blue Tinted Glasses followers with a discount. Just use the code BTG12 at checkout for money off. Grab yours now at thebeautifulframe.com. The link is in the description of the video.